Good morning, everyone. So, today we're starting with chapter number 7 and 8. Chapter number 7 deals with law of returns, and chapter number 8 deals with the cost aspect of the production process. Now, remember in your ISC board, chapter 6, 7, and 8, three of them together have 12 marks. So, approximately chapter number 7 and chapter number 8 has 4 to 5 marks each. Okay, a little here and there, but approximately this much amount of marks. Now, when I'm talking about chapter number 7, law of returns, what is this chapter about? This chapter deals with how a producer thinks when he started production. Okay, now when you try to understand what is production, remember, production is the process of creating something that is useful to anyone in this world. Okay. So when something is useful to you, it means it has utility. Unless it does not have utility, unless there is no usefulness to it, nobody will come and buy it. And that is why it will be not counted in the production process. So in order for you to be considered as a producer and whatever you're producing as a production process, it has to have some kind of utility. Earlier, when we would talk about production, we would talk about production of only tangible goods. We would say that tangible goods are the only things that are useful to the people. Later on, economists realized that we are we are forgetting the intangible aspect, that is services part of the transaction. We should also consider different kinds of services like services of doctors, lawyers, teachers. They are also a part of production process, even though there is no physical transfer of goods in case of services, yet the there is some kind of productivity or there is some kind of usefulness that has been created because of the service, and that is why it is always considered as production also. Okay, so goods and services, both of them are considered as a part of the production process. Now remember, whenever you're talking about the production function, this function, the word function means do this whole thing, define this whole thing using a formula. Okay, now when I'm using a formula, it is but natural that I need to show that whenever I'm doing production, there is some kind of inputs that I'm using for the production process, meaning some kind of raw material, labor, factor of production, I will definitely use in the process of creating a good, right? So when I'm trying to define or when I'm trying to make a formula out of the production function, it says Qx is equal to function of F1, F2, F3, dot, 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 dot. What does this dot, dot, dot signify? That it means that there are different factors of production when I'm producing a unit of output. So this is a unit of output, and this represents various factors of inputs. Inputs means, let's say, raw material, we have labor, we have some kind of machinery that is used, there's some kind of money that goes into the production process. All of this results in creation of one product, one output, and that is why it is there in this formula. Correct? Now, why is there a dot dot dot? Because see, every product, every kind of good that you're producing, it can be produced, one good can be produced with a single factor of production. Another good can be produced with 4 or 5 different factors of production. And that is why there is a dot dot dot. If let's say I'm producing a mobile, okay, there is so many things that go in production of mobile. So there are so many, maybe there is an F4, there's an F5 and so on. Got it? Again, this is a dependent variable. Why? Because it depends on the factors of production. And this F1, F2, F3, all of them are independent variables. They don't depend on each other. Raw material does not depend on labor. Labor does not depend on machinery. When you put a combination of all of this, you get QX. Got it? Okay. Now, this whole chapter has been divided into 2 parts. Short run and long run. So they divide production process into 2 parts, short run, long run. What is short run production process? They say that in the short run, when I'm taking into factor the production process, they take one factor of production as a variable and the other as fixed. Okay, so when we are studying this chapter, we take into factor only two factors of production. What are these two factors of production that have been studied? One is labor and the other is capital. Now you'll tell me, ma'am, what is capital? Capital meaning anything that is used in the production process, like for example, machinery. So these people have taken labor and machinery when they're studying the whole chapter. In the short run, labor is variable, but machinery is always fixed. What is the logic behind this? Let's say today you as a producer are producing 5 units of mobile per day. And suddenly I come in and I tell you, listen, I am a person who sells mobiles and I just want you tomorrow, I want you to make 1,000 mobiles per day. Is it going to be possible for you? No, you're going to tell me, ma'am, I do not have the capability of making that much because my machinery itself, I only have one machine. That one machine makes only 5. Okay. But you would tell me that, okay, but if you wait for the next 3-4 months, I can update my machinery and accordingly I can vary my machine and I can make that much amount that you're saying. You're telling me 1,000 per day, I can do it, but not so soon. So this practical assumption, put it into economics theory. In the short run, I can't change machinery, I keep it fixed. But my labor I can vary as and when I want. Okay. On the other hand, in the long run, everything, labor and machinery, both of them become variable. Why? Because I can change it. If I tell you that please change your machinery or modify your machinery today, you'll tell me that's not possible. If I give you a timeline, can you modify your machinery in the next 2 years? You'll say 100% I can, right? Isn't it practical to assume this? So short run, labor is variable, machinery is fixed. Long run, labor and machinery, both of them are variable. Okay. So now if I want to make a formula out of it. Firstly, QX, that is output, is equal to function of labor and machinery. So these people, when they are using machinery, they use the alphabet K, capital. Okay. What they do in the short run is they say that output is a function of labor, but machinery is kept constant. So they put a dash above. When you want to keep something constant, you put a dash above. On the other hand, in the long run, it is L comma X, both of them. Why? Because output depends upon both labor and machinery and none of it is fixed. Both of them are variable. Got it? So here, the only difference is that you could put a dash above. On the other hand, here there's no dash. Got it? These are the two kinds of formulas that are there for short run and long run production function. Now, the next topic that is there in your textbook is what is total product? What is marginal product? And what is average product? Okay. Total product means the total amount of production that I am doing at any particular period of time. Let's say I have one person who's working on my machinery and he is able to make 100 pens. So total production right now is 100 pens. If I have two people involved and both of them together are able to make 220, in that case, my total product becomes 220. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my labor. Okay, number of people I have in my factory. Total production. If it was just one person, I'm using the example in your textbook so that when you're also revising your textbook, it is easier for you to connect with the theory that I'm explaining. So labor 1, total production 100. When there are 2 labor, total production becomes 220. When there is 3, 360. When there is 4, 520. And then when there is 5, it's 650. So at any given point of time, if I tell you that what have you produced here, when you had 4 people working for you, you will tell me 520. Right? Easy. Total production at that particular time. How much did you produce? How many mobiles? How many pens? How many bottles did you make in your factory? Easy. Next, average. Average product. Whenever I want to find out average of anything, what do? I do total upon the amount, whatever I've used to make it. So in this case, what have I used? Labor. So the total quantity, number of labor units, correct? So if I want to find out average here, average product, what will I do? 100 upon 1, 100 upon 1, which is 100. Then 220 upon 2, which is 110. 360 upon 3, which is 120. 520 upon 4, which would be 520 upon 4 is again, I think, 130, yes. And then 650 upon 5, again 130. So what am I doing? Total production when divided with the number of units of labor, I get my average. Average is very easy. It's there throughout your entire syllabus. Again, the next is marginal product. What do you mean by marginal? The word marginal in economics means change. Okay, because of an addition in labor, because of one more guy working for you, what is the change that has happened in your total production? Okay, I understood the definition. Now let's practically understand. Again, I repeat the definition. Because of change in your labor, the amount that has been added to your total production. When there was just one guy producing 100, that means my marginal product would be 100. Why 100? Because when there was nobody, the production was zero. Correct. What is the change this guy has gotten into the business? He has gotten 100 pens. So that is why 100 is my marginal product. Now, because of the second guy, what is the total production change? From 100, it has gone to 220. So 220 minus 100, which is 120. Because of the third guy, what is the change in the production? From 220, it has gone to 360. So 360 minus 220, which turns out to be 140. Then fourth, because of the fourth guy coming into the business, what is the change that has happened? 520 minus 360, which turns out to be 160. And because of the fifth, what is the change in the amount of total production? 650 minus 520, which turns out to be 130. Do you understand? Whenever I want to find out marginal product of 1 of n, I will do TPN minus TPN minus 1. What is this formula? Understand. Here, if I directly want to find out the marginal product of 3, MP3 is equal to TP3 minus TP2. Do you agree to this? N minus 1 means 3 minus 1, that is 2. So now, what did I do? 360 is the TP3. TP2 is 220. So my answer turns out to be 140. Is this the right answer? Yes. So if I want to derive this using a formula, this is the formula that I'm supposed to use. Change in the total production because of one more additional input, one more additional guy coming and working for you is called marginal product. Okay, very, very similar to marginal utility, which you studied in chapter number 3. Okay, marginal, the word has been used many times in your whole syllabus. Marginal means change. Okay. Okay, the next part of this chapter is what is the relationship between average and marginal product? Remember, average product and marginal product. Now, according to economics, what is the relationship between average and marginal is that? Think of this very practically, okay? Now, there were two people and they were working in the business, and both of them on an average were able to create 120 each, okay? Now, suddenly there is a new guy who's come into the business. This third guy has come into the business and he's doing extremely well. He's able to he himself is able to create a total of at least 300 units of pens. He himself is adding 300 units of pen to the production. Okay. Because of this, what happens to the total production? Total production increases like anything, right? And naturally, when total production increases, average product also increases. So when MP is on a rise, AP is also going to be on a rise. Why? Because this new guy is coming into the business. He's doing so well that he is making sure the other people's average also increases. Okay, that's the first point of relationship between AP and MP. The second point is when MP is equal to AP, when MP is equal to AP, AP right now is at its maximum. Okay, so I'm going to write this down. See, first point, when MP is on a rise, what happens is AP is also on a high. Why? Because logically think, when a new guy is coming to the business, he's adding so much that the total product increases. When total product increases, naturally, average product also increases. Second, what I said is when MP and AP are equal, in such a case, AP is at its maximum. And the third point is when they say when MP is less than AP, that means AP will fall. Now, because every new guy coming into the business, what is MP? Change. Meaning the new guys coming to the business is not doing good enough. If he's not doing good enough, that means the total product will naturally fall down and MP will also fall, right? So here MP will fall, AP will fall. To repeat, what has happened here is marginal product has fallen down. The new guy coming into the business is not doing well enough. So the total production, total number of mobiles I'm making will also fall. And naturally, the average will also go down because the new guy comes in, does not do a good job. Okay. So these are the 3 points that you should know and you should write in your exam. You can write these 3 points, take an example and explain it. The table is not necessarily a part of your syllabus. You don't need to learn the table which is given in the textbook. You can make your own example, but make sure you're matching the theory. You're writing something and that actually works with the example you're also giving. Okay. The next part is what is the relationship between TP and MP, total product and marginal product. Okay. The first point that they say is that total product is increasing at an increasing rate. Total product is increasing at an increasing rate, meaning, look, now here it is 100, the increase is 120. Yeah. Next time the increase is there, the increase is 140. Then the next time the increase is there, it's 160. Every time a new guy is coming to the business, he is adding more. It is getting better, right? That means TP, total product, is increasing at an increasing rate up until here. Everyone agrees to this? Yeah. If total product is increasing at an increasing rate, that means MP is also on a rise, right? MP here is also become 100, 120, 140, 160. Agreed. Next, total product is increasing, but at a diminishing or decreasing rate, at a diminishing rate. Now here what is happening is MP is falling. Meaning every new guy who's coming into the business, he is working, he is adding something, but he's not adding as much. He's not doing such a good job that the total product is increasing on a massive scale. He is adding, but he's adding on a very small scale because of which the MP is going down, marginal product is going down. Naturally, the TP is increasing, but it is increasing at a diminishing rate. Like in this year, the fifth guy who came in, did he add to the production? 100% he did. Why? Because from 520 it became 650, no? He has added to the production, no doubt. But has he added as much as the previous people? No. Why? Because he's only added 130. Got it? And the last part is, the last relationship is that what happens in case of TP is TP reaches its maximum. In such a case, MP becomes 0. Meaning here, now your total production has been achieved. After this point, ideally, you should stop. You have produced as much as possible. And the people who are coming into the business, whoever, the last person who came to the business, he added nothing. It was 0 because you've already used as much as possible. If after this also you continue, then your TP will start declining. And what will happen to your MP? negative. Do you want this? No, nobody wants this in production. Why? Because here what is happening, every new guy coming into the business is making the business do worse. Nobody wants this, right? So four stages of TP and MP, whereas in case of relationship between MP and AP, three stages. Remember, note this down. These things are important. If you write this in your answer, you'll get full marks, and it is asked a lot in your exam, okay? Okay. The next answer that we have in our textbook is returns to a factor or law, or it's also called as law of returns to a variable factor. Now, again, they're talking about the different stages. Now, remember, this chapter is a repetition. They keep talking about what I just explained you 6 or 7 times using diagrams, using stages, using different theories. But ultimately, this is what you need to remember. Okay. Now, when they're talking about the different returns to factor, there are three things they talk about. First is increasing returns to factor. Next is constant returns to factor. And last is diminishing returns to factor. Now, what are they trying to say here is increasing returns to factor means as I'm increasing the amount of variable output input, that means as I'm increasing the number of labor, the total production is increasing. Okay. Next, they talk about that as I'm increasing the number of labor, the total production now is at a place where it is constant. And finally, last is diminishing returns. When I'm increasing the variable output, when I'm increasing my labor, what is happening to the total product is the total product starts diminishing. The worst stage. Do I operate in such a stage? No. Okay, so here the answer has been framed differently, wherein they tell you how variable factor is connected to total product. It is not nothing but the same. The answer is just framed differently. Talk about the variable factor and talk about how it brings about a change in total product. Okay. Next we have is the law of variable proportion. Now see, I'm going to read the statement of the law and you're going to understand it on your own because it's literally this explained again. The law of variable proportion states that as more and more units of variable factor are applied to the given quantity of fixed factor, total product may increase at an increasing rate initially, but eventually it will increase at a diminishing rate. Do we understand? When I'm putting more and more of variable factor, what is my variable factor in my theory? Labor. When I'm putting one labor, two labor, three, four, five, what is happening? My mobiles are getting produced at a very high rate. Suddenly, when I put the sixth guy, I am producing more, but my production is not increasing at such a high. It has started to increase at a diminishing rate. First, I was increasing at an increasing rate. Every new guy coming in was adding the better amount, was doing much better than the previous guy. But after the fifth guy coming in, the sixth guy is doing better. He is adding, but he's not adding as much as the people previous to him, people before him. Got it? This is the law. Now, when you're explaining the law, use the diagram to explain the law. When you're making the diagram, how do you make this? First, you make it in two parts, okay? While we have MP and AP in one part, and then we have TP on one part. Divide the diagram in three stages. So make stage number one big, stage number two and three relatively fine. Make it normal, okay? Now this diagram I am keeping for TP. 0. This is L1, L2, and there should also be an L3. One second. Or we can do one thing. We will make L1 somewhere here. Okay. L1, L2, L3. Okay, L1, L2, L3. Here I'm going to show you AP and MP. First thing, what are you supposed to do in case of TP? Remember, up until L1, show the curve like this. After that, increase the curve and take it on a high at this point. After you take it on a high at this point, make sure you start showing that it's diminishing. Okay, so some instructions. First, at this point, make sure you're making it like a bowl, but in like, how do I show this? Maybe an inverted S, something like that. Then here you show it like a mountain. After that, it reaches the maximum here. These are the instructions you have to definitely follow for TP. Okay, the next we have is MP. MP, again, at this point, I have to show MP at its maximum. So I'm going to make it like that. And then here at this point, I have to show MP down as going down, meaning I have to make it meet the x-axis and then I have to show it negative. So first I'll start, make a mountain. Then I will slowly make sure that it matches this point. Okay. What about AP? AP is very easy. Start here. Just make sure that this point is the point they're meeting and then just like that. Got it? So for TP and MP, follow the instructions. TP, this point is important and this point is important. MP, this point you have to show that it's the highest and this point you have to show it's negative. And what about AP? AP, just this point is important. At this point, you show AP as its maximum. Got it? Now, this entire law of variable proportion is again divided into three stages. First stage is stage of increasing returns. At this stage, at stage number 1, what happens is during the stage, MP rises first, reaches the maximum at M. So what are they saying? They're naming this point as M. And then it starts decreasing but is positive throughout. Isn't MP positive? So what has happened in this stage? See, this is MP, no? In this stage number 1, it has been like this. It's like a mountain. So it is always positive. It's not become negative. But it was rising and now it is declining. It was rising at this part. It is declining at this part. Agreed? So MP is on a rise initially. Then MP starts declining. But it always remains positive. Agreed? What about TP? What happens to TP? Here at this point, TP is increasing at an increasing rate. And then TP starts increasing at a diminishing rate. It is increasing definitely, but here at an increasing rate and here at a diminishing rate. Got it? And what about AP? AP is positive. Why is AP positive? Because MP is on a rise. The relationship, no, as far as MP is rising, AP is also rising. So that is why it is positive throughout. Got it? Please write this down. TP is rising or increasing at an increasing rate up to this, up to M, and then increases at a diminishing rate. And what about AP? AP is positive throughout. Okay, this is how you're supposed to define the first stage of the production process. Next stage, L2. See, in L2, the second stage starts from the point where AP is maximum, like I told you. When MP and AP intersect, two things you need to remember. When MP and AP intersect, MP, AP, both of them are intersecting. At this point, AP is maximum. Okay, so first thing you need to remember in stage number 2, write it down. Stage number 2, it is called diminishing returns. Diminishing returns, first point, MP is equal to AP. That means AP is at its maximum. Okay. And then it says it ends where marginal product of variable factor is 0. Meaning this entire part is stage number 2. what is happening? There are two important things that's happening. One, both of them become equal. Once they become equal, you know AP is maximum. Second thing that's happening is here. The stage ends at the place where MP touches the x-axis. That means it's become 0, correct? Now, what is happening to the TP curve? TP curve is on a rise, but it is on a rise in a diminishing rate. Diminishing rate. Meaning it's increasing, but not rapidly, increasing at a diminishing rate. Finally, what happens in stage number 3? Stage of negative returns. The word itself should tell you negative. The most important part, no most important point in negative returns is that MP here becomes negative. If MP becomes negative, that it is but natural that TP is starting to fall. Please write it down. MP becomes negative, TP is starting to fall. AP is also falling, but AP and TP cannot become negative, no? It it will always be positive. Please understand. MP is negative. Why? Because now nothing good is coming out of one more guy coming into the business. What happens to TP and AP? They are decreasing, but they can never ever be negative. Why? Because you can't make -2 mobiles, you can't make -2 pens, right? You have to make some kind of production. You have to make sure that the production is always there. You can't make negative of something. Okay, logically, do we understand? Okay, giving you 2 minutes to process this entire diagram, understand the highlighted points in this diagram, and make sure you frame your answer accordingly. Okay. Now, these people, next answer is they are explaining us as to why these stages are happening. Okay. Very, very easy to understand. First stage is stage of increasing returns. That means everything that's happening is happening at a great pace, positive. Everything is great, going good for the business. Now, let me explain you this with the help of example. First, I had two people working for me, two labor, and I had five machines. Okay. And I was making pens. So every time these two people were making the pens, they would switch between machines. They would do 1, 2, 3, 4, machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, machine 4, machine 5. Okay. This one guy named Ram would go to machine 1, then he would go to 3, then he would go to 5. Maybe another guy named Sham, he would go to 2 and then 4 and then 5. Okay. What are these people doing? They're trying to make a maximum utilization of the machines. But is it good enough? No. If here I add one more guy, one more labor, then you would be like, oh man, that would be great. Why? Because I can use another machine to the best possible capacity, right? I would say, okay, can I use one more guy, one more labor? You would be like, yeah, that's a great combination too. Why? Because now there are four people, there are five machines, correct? Great, doing the best job. And then if I tell you, can I add one more? You'd be like, yes, this is the perfect combination because there are five people and there are five machines. Each guy has one machine, each guy will do his job the best and the amount of production will go great. Great returns would come from it. That is why in the first stage it is increasing returns. So there are 2 points. Fuller utilization of fixed factors. What does this mean? Earlier, when labor was just 2 and machines was 5, the labor, the guy, Ram, how much ever he tries to make the utilization of machinery, he is not able to do so in the maximum capacity, right? Because he's switching constantly. On the other hand, if there are five people and there are five machines, what happens in such a case? Each guy uses his machinery to the best possible way. So you are using your fixed factor to the maximum. Number one. Second, increase in efficiency. When there are five people doing five machines, each guy might be better in one job. So accordingly, you will give him that one job to do, no? Okay, let's say we are in the process of making a pen. So there are different, this is process number 1, process number 2, process number 3, process number 4, process number 5. Each of them is for one machine. Machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, machine 4, and machine 5. Okay. Now let's say Ram. He is good in this, so you allocate him this. There is another guy, Sham. He is good in this, so you allocate him this. There's another guy called Peter. Peter's good here, so you put him here. Then there's another guy called Rohan. Rohan is good here, so you put him here. And then there is another guy called Aditya, so you put Aditya here. What have you done? You have put each guy according to the job he's good at, because of which the efficiency, the overall way by which the people are working increases. Naturally, it adds to the production process in a better way. Okay, two reasons. Fuller utilization of fixed factors, and second reason, increase in efficiency. Now, stage number two. Why does stage number two happen? That is, it's called, why is diminishing returns happening? Now you think about this. There are 5 people here and there are 5 machines here. You add a new guy into the business. You add one more guy named Arhan. Now, when you're adding Arhan into this business, what happens into this production process? Firstly, Arhan does not have one machine to work on, right? Unlike the other people. So he will do here some, he'll do this, he'll do this. He will definitely he will add to the production. But since this guy does not have one isolated machine with him, he's not going to be able to put his maximum commitment, and he's not going to be able to work as much. Correct? So first, disturbing the optimum proportion. What is the optimum proportion? 5 people, 5 machines. Now suddenly you have made it 6 people, 5 machines. You have disturbed the best combination. Whenever you're disturbing the best combination, you're going to bear the whatever the repercussions are, right? Second point, imperfect substitutability of factors of production, meaning there is only a certain point up until which you can use labor to substitute machinery. What does this mean? I can go on and keep adding labor up to a certain point, after which there comes a point wherein you have to add another machinery to your production, because there is a deadlock. There is a situation where there are too many people doing a job, but the job itself is not enough. No, if there is no machinery and you keep adding people, what will happen? After a certain point, there will be people added who will be doing no work. So there is only a certain point up till which you can keep adding labor, but after a point, you have to add the machinery. Okay. Last, causes of negative returns. Very, very easy. This is the easiest point. Here there are 2 points: overcrowding and management problems. So let's say in this whole production process, I add 15 people and there are only 5 machines. What will happen? Utter confusion. People will not know which machine they have to go in, what work they have to do, because too less of machine, too many number of people. And second thing, management problems. The manager will not be able to allocate job properly because job is less. People don't have enough to do. And naturally, there will be conflicts, there will be fights, and all these problems will arise. Okay. An important answer. Remember, one of the causes will definitely come in the exam. Understand this answer with logic. Don't try to by heart it. It is just the stages explained in a better way. Okay, next what we have is stages of operation and the decision as to which stage you should produce. So I know that there are three stages, no? Please, let's revise on the 3 stages. First stage is called stage of increasing returns. Second stage is called the stage of diminishing returns. And the last stage is called negative returns. Agreed, everyone? Okay. Now you tell me, which stage would you operate in? Stage 1, 2, or 3? Most of you will tell me stage number 1, because you're saying that, oh, ma'am, total production is increasing at an increasing rate. So at this point, I am able to make, at the end of this stage, I'm able to make 500 mobiles. And here, negative returns is not doing good. Why? Because as I'm increasing the amount of labor, naturally the amount of production is going on a negative, meaning as I'm making 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th guy into the business, suddenly I'm making only 200 mobiles or 300 mobiles. So this though has no picture. This 100% everybody will tell me stage 3 you should not go to. Okay. But remember, the best possible scenario is this. Why? Because in this case, even though it is diminishing returns, whenever I'm adding one guy, whenever I'm adding a labor, the labor is causing me to add to my total production. So next, now let's say I'm adding A. When A is being added to the process of production in stage number 2, he is able to add and he is able to make a total production of 550. When I'm adding B into the process, he's able to make another 30, but he's able to add something 580. So at this stage, the total amount of production of mobile phones or pens that I'm doing is definitely greater than this one. And that is why this stage is the best. Remember, stage 2 is the best. Why? Because if stage 3, of course, no way, nobody should go to stage 3. But what about stage 1? Why should I go ahead of stage 1? Because stage 1, I'm making 500 mobile phones, 500 pens. I'm doing good. But at stage 2, I'm able to make slightly more. And a person who's a producer would always want to make sure that he is utilizing everything to the maximum capacity. And that is why stage 2 is the best. Okay. Learn this answer. This answer has been explained in your textbook by the process of elimination. What does this mean? They say that stage 3 is not good because, of course, negative. Stage 1 is also not good. Why? Because you can do better. So go ahead, do stage 2 and stop at stage 2. Okay. Next, in your textbook, you have the law of returns to scale, meaning long run theory. What happens in the long run? See, this theory is not really there in your syllabus. Okay, you have the distinguish. I'll just briefly explain you what happens in long run. Very, very easy. In case of long run, the both labor and machinery, they become variable. Okay. So if you want to increase your machinery, that also you can increase. So in this case, if you want to increase your production, you increase labor by 3, you increase your machinery also by 1 or 2, however you want it. So when you're giving a distinction between both of them, law of variable proportion and law of returns to scale, law of returns to scale. Then one is short run, other is long run. In the short run, one factor of production is fixed, one factor of production is variable. On the other hand, in the law of returns to scale, both of them become variable. Okay. This is what is the major point of distinction. Again, an important distinction. Please do it for the exam. Okay. So this chapter overall, very, very easy. How do they ask questions in boards is, firstly, I have a sheet in wherein I have discussed all the case-based questions and I've given you more number of them so that you can practice on it. Make sure you practice that. Okay. Second thing is usually they'll give you a very small table. Okay. And then they will tell you maybe only one or two or three numericals, one or two numbers, and then they'll tell you which stage of production is this conveying, this table conveying. So you need to spot whether it's stage 1, 2, and 3 and explain that stage. And then they will also ask you, why does it happen? So you have to give the answer for causes of the different stages which I explained. Okay, this is what they have been asking since I think a couple of years now. Okay. Okay.